everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. Before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed. It's completely free to subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of my crafty family here on YouTube. Now, this video is one that I made years and years and years ago, but so much has changed since then that I thought it was time to update this so that you guys knew how to do this with the new updated version of Cricut Design Space. I'm going to show you how to make a layered decal just like this guy in just a few steps from start to finish. It's really, really easy, and I think that you guys are going to have such a good time. I'm going to show you how to upload this, how to create the layers, and then how to cut it and to layer it. So without further ado, let's get started. Can't wait to show you how to do this. It's really easy to make your very own vinyl decals using your Cricut and just images that you find wherever. So let me show you how to do this. It's so simple. What we're going to do is we're going to upload our image. Now, when you're looking for an image, it's super important to find one that has a lot of like outlines around each of your colored sections. So I'm going to browse for my image. And for this one, I'm going to use this image of Pikachu. And before I start doing anything to this, I'm going to show you a little bit what I mean. So you'll notice that around the cheeks, there's red in the middle, but then it has black around the outside. And then there's like black around the pink tongue. There's not any shading to this. It's all basically one single color. So this is what we're going to use. We're going to click continue. And then for this, I changed my color tolerance to 100. That way it's just, for whatever reason, Cricut just does it. I don't really know exactly what their color tolerance does, but it will help us to remove all of this stuff. So you want to remove anything that isn't black, including the centers of his eyes. You should just be left with this little image here. I want to make sure I also get this section right here in his tail. That section is really easy to forget about, and I definitely am one who can forget that little section. So you should be left with basically what I would refer to as a coloring page, which is just the black outline of your design. Go ahead and click apply and continue, and we want to save this as a single layer image. Click continue again. Now you're going to notice you've got this little Pikachu guy ready to go. Go ahead and click upload. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, but he's just black and white. What are we supposed to do with this? This is where it comes in to using the contour option to create your layered design. Now, I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to do is I need to have yellow, 2 different shades of like red/pink, and I need white for this. So I need to make a couple duplications. So we're going to do yellow, red, pink, and white. So I have a duplicate for each color that I need, and then also one that is going to be our solid base for our Pikachu, which we will make our layered decal on. Whenever you're layering vinyl, it's best to layer onto a solid shape. That way you don't have bumps. It's easier to line it up, just so much simpler. So I like to start with that one first. So I select my design and just select whichever Pikachu. It doesn't matter which one. I go down to contour. And for this, I'm going to tell it to hide all contours. But remember, we have this little space between the tail. Go ahead and make sure that you click that to remove that part. And now this is going to be our base layer for our Pikachu. Now I'm going to go ahead and scoot these guys over to the side, and we'll work with each one as we go. For our Pikachu, I want to keep any part that's going to be yellow, but I also want certain parts that are going to be black to be cut out of my yellow. So like this portion of his mouth here, I want cut out. I want this little piece of his nose to cut out, and I want the eyes to be cut out. That way the black will show through the yellow, and we won't have to layer black that we already have on top of all of our other layers. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to contour. In contour, I'm going to first hide his outline. Now, everything that's going to be yellow is his tail and his body, and we want to make sure that we get rid of this little piece in his tail. Now, his cheek is not yellow, but I do want this little circle to show through. And then his tongue is not yellow, so we don't want that piece. We also don't want this piece in between the like edge and the yellow part, because this is going to be red. And then we need to remove his little, not his eyes, the dots in his eyes, because we don't want those to cut out in yellow either. If they do, it's fine. You can just take them out, but you don't want them to do that. So now we have this piece, which this is our yellow piece. So before I do anything else, I make him yellow, and then I'm going to go ahead and line it up on top of our design. Then we're going to take our next one. You're going to click contour. Again, you're just going to get rid of this outline. And then for this one, we're getting rid of the entire body. And I want to keep the cheek pieces, but I don't want to keep like this outline. I'm going to get rid of his little tail pieces. And you want to keep the inside of the cheek and not this little outline. So click on the outline. You're going to get rid of his face, all his parts of his face. You're going to get rid of all of the eyeball pieces, the nose, and the mouth. And now you should be left with just the two cheek pieces, which are red. Take those over and line them up. And are you starting to see it come together? Now, if they're not lined up perfectly over here, I'm not super concerned about it. Now, the next thing we'll do is we're going to keep his little tongue. So I'm going to go to contour. Again, you're just going to get rid of any piece that isn't his tongue. So it can be a little bit confusing, but the more you play with this, the more you'll kind of figure out, okay, I need to keep this piece or that piece or whatever it may be. And now you see I'm left with his tongue. We'll make his tongue pink. Put his little tongue back in his mouth. And then our last thing are just these dots. Now I could just make circles for these as well. If I don't want to contour them, but I can also contour them out, which is just as easy as making my own little circles. So I just go through and I just hide all the pieces, parts that we don't need. Don't need his tongue, don't need his nose. And then we're going to be left with these two little tiny dots. Now I'll turn those back to white and we'll pull these over into his eyeballs. And simple as this, we have our layered SVG, so to speak, design that we can use to create our Pikachu with. Now, I do want to show you another option when uploading these that you can do, but I think this way is a little bit easier. But if you're new, this way might be better for you. I'm going to upload the same image. So I'm going to upload our Pikachu and I'm going to click upload image. Browse for him and find him. Now for this one, I'm going to click continue and I'm going to just keep it as is. I'm not going to do anything to this and I'm going to click apply and continue. Once I've done that, I'm going to save it here as this simple one layer image. It's the silhouette, and this will be the back piece of our Pikachu. Now you can see that it's going to be the same as this layer, so super easy to use. Now we'll go through and we're going to upload him again, and I'm going to click upload image, browse for him, and find him. Again, turning that color tolerance up to 100. And now what I want to do is I'm going to remove anything that is black, meaning I'm going to get rid of his outline. Now, one thing you're going to note is see you have all these little dots here. That happens. So go ahead, click undo and try changing that color tolerance to like 150 and see if that helps. Now, some images are not going to work like this, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to play with the color tolerance a little bit and see what works for your design. That one worked a lot better, so we'll use that. Then all I'm going to do is remove all of these little parts inside of him, his mouth. Like I said, anything that isn't yellow needs to be removed. Now, you'll notice that we've still got some issues going on. So I'm going to click undo. And you'll notice that we had this when I clicked his cheek, his whole body went away, which definitely is not what we want. So if that happens, go back to your color tolerance, turn it back down, and then try clicking again. That can help. But one thing I'm going to let you see, do you see the lines are not great? They're not super smooth. This is not always the best way, but I did want to show you another option. So again, we're going to upload this as a single layer image. Go ahead and click upload. Now it doesn't look too bad, so I think it'll be okay. But you'll notice now we have all of our pieces, parts that are going to be yellow. So again, take them, change them to yellow, and then you'll need to size this so that it fits onto your design. This is another reason I don't love doing it this way, because you do have to kind of size your design to fit. They don't come in exactly the same size. So now what I'm going to do is in the next part. So you're going to go back to upload. You're going to upload the image again. You're going to click browse, choose your image, and we'll do the same steps. Now we know that obviously we need to turn that color tolerance up pretty high to get rid of the black again. So that was too high. 250 was too high. So I'm going to try to get rid of that black again. Now for this one, you'll notice it took out his little red cheek. So we'll skip that piece for now. I just want to take and keep his tongue for this one. And I'm just going to get rid of all the other things that are not his tongue. So I can get rid of his eyes. I can get rid of that. And then you'll see we got those little foots down here at the bottom. This is why sometimes it's just better to do it with the contour. So I got rid of the foots. Click apply and continue. We're going to choose the single layer option. Click continue. And we're going to upload it. And remember, this piece is his tongue. So it needs to be pink. Move it over into this. And again, we'll size it. It's not great, a little too big. We'll size his tongue down. There we go. And then we have to still continue to do this for the red pieces. So now let's head back and do it for red. So again, I'm going to change that color tolerance to 200, but you'll notice that I got rid of that cheek again. So I need to turn this back down to like 150 maybe and see if it'll keep the cheek. And we just might need to go in and clean up some of this. Now, because I'm so sick of clicking all of these buttons, I'm going to go ahead and keep the white, and we'll just like slice those out. Now for this one, I'm going to come in with my little eraser tool and kind of go around and get any of these little rogue dots that are here. And you can use this preview single layers to look for any more rogue dots, because those dots will try to cut. And we don't want that, of course. So I'm going to get real close here. I'm going to get this dot. Looks like I got them all. I'm going to apply and continue, and I'm going to save it as the single layer and click continue. Again, I'm going to go ahead and upload this. Now, before I do anything to this one, I want to slice the eyes away from the cheeks. So simple to do that is just grab a shape. It does not matter what shape you grab. Just grab one, cover the eyeballs. You want to select both items, and you're going to go to slice. Then you can get rid of your shape, get rid of one copy of the eyes, and then change one of the copies to white. And then you're going to put those over your little design and size them. Now these are pretty small, so I'm going to zoom in so that I can size them better. And then you can grab the cheeks, change those colors, go ahead and move those cheekies up where they go. And again, we'll need to size. And there we go. Now you can see really they look pretty much the same, but this one definitely took a lot more work as far as like knowing what to do with color tolerance, what to do with, all of that. Now I am going to go ahead and just cut the one we used with contour. So I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to group him and hide him so that I can just cut this Pikachu instead. I'm not sure what I'm going to put him on, but just, you resize them by either using the sliders in the corners, or you can resize to an exact size up here in the area that shows you the width. You have a lock button and your height. So you can resize based on all of that. So super cute, really easy to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my design. I'm just going to save it as Pikachu, which I don't know if I spelled right, but that's fine. And then we'll click make so that you can see each of your layers. So you have white, black, pink for his tongue, his red cheeks, and his yellow body and tail and head and all of that. We're going to head over to the machine. I'm going to get this cut out, and then I'm going to show you how to layer this. Super easy. We are ready to cut out our pieces. So I'm going to use some scraps that I have for some of the parts, especially for the small parts. But then I also have this perfect sized piece of black scrap that I'm going to use for the Pikachu. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut 2 of these at the same mat, so I don't have to load the mat twice. So what you'll do is you're going to load your first color in, which is the white, and we're just going to leave the black on this side. Once it cuts the white out, I'll flip it and I'll cut out the black. It's just kind of a slight time saver, but it doesn't have to be done this way. You can cut them individually as well. Now once it's done cutting the white, simply turn your mat and you can cut the black. You can also just take the white off too, and then you can just cut out your black. Now now that you have everything weeded, we are going to layer our design. So I'm using my favorite transfer tape. I obviously am running low. That's okay, I have more. But I'll link this tape down below for you. It is literally my most favoriteest tape on the planet. And the way I like to layer might not be the way that you like to layer, but I do find that this one works really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start with the yellow section. Now what's kind of cool is I could absolutely line up his like tongue and his cheeks, but I don't even really need transfer tape for that because they're such small pieces. I can just place them by hand onto this sheet. Now I just got to get his cheeks, and again, because they're so little, you can just treat them just like stickers and just place them onto the yellow page here, and voila. Now the white I will need to place separately because I want to make sure that the eyes look good and lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this laid down, trim this out of my transfer tape. And then I'm going to grab my squeegee. Now I do have a piece of parchment paper. I'll show you that in just a second, what that's good for. And what you're going to do is burnish this down. You want to make sure that you get all the pieces and parts. And then I want to make sure that I get all the middle, since I have those extra pieces that I added on. Then remove the tape's backing. So this is your this is your vinyl backing. And you're going to peel that away. And it should leave all your parts onto your page. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my main Pikachu design onto my parchment paper while leaving a little of him hanging out the bottom. That way I can attach it really easily once I get everything lined up. Now once I'm happy with where it's lined up, you're going to press where you have the open area without your parchment paper. So right here, there's no parchment paper. Lift your decal away and pull out your parchment paper, and then carefully lay your design down onto your black backing. Now I'm just going to rub this with my fingers. I don't want it to be super stuck right now because I want to be able to put the white on the eyes. And sometimes stuff will lift up. That's okay. Just press it back down. No big deal. I really just need to get access to where his eyes are. I don't even really need to do like the full reveal of this. I can leave the transfer tape down here if I want to. So I'll just put my scissors on it. And then I can take his little eye dots. And again, I don't have to use transfer tape. I just did that this way so that I could make sure that I was happy with where I placed them. And get this one. And these don't have to be exactly where they were on the decal. You can kind of put them wherever you want. And then when you're done with that, take your transfer tape. Go ahead and place that back down. And your decal is done. Simple as that. People make making decals seem so much more difficult than it really is. This is such a simple design. Now I do have a little bubble, but this is actually a bubble in the transfer tape. It's not in the vinyl. So just ignore that if you see it on camera. But I'm gonna get you guys a better up close view of this. Thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.